This is the first West Branch schoolhouse, built in 1853. It's the oldest building still standing in town. The original building, not on its original site. And it is basically a typical one-room schoolhouse that you find in 19th century Iowa. The first white settlers here were predominantly Quakers who started settling here about 1851. And a couple years later, pretty much as soon as they had enough children to justify building a school, they did build the schoolhouse. They built the schoolhouse before they built their church. The Quakers also used this building for what they called their meetings for their church services for about 3 years after this. And again, your typical one-room schoolhouse, grades 1 through 8 here with one teacher. Our records say that at one point there were as many as 60 children attending this little one-room building. Not sure where they put them all, but that's what the records say. The children sat 2, possibly even 3 to a desk. They used slates and slate pencils for most of their regular work because paper was kind of scarce and pretty expensive. So most of the time they used slates. Heavy on what you call the 3 R's, reading, writing, and arithmetic. Also had instruction in other things too. The school was heated by a coal burning stove, and there was no running water, so in the back of the room was a bowl of water and a dipper. Children brought their own lunches to school. Many of them did have a little tin pail that they could use as their lunch pail to bring their lunch from home with them. The teacher would do write a lot of the lessons and such on the blackboard. Pretty much every one-room schoolhouse had a blackboard, chalkboard in the front, and there would normally be a little raised area in front of the chalkboard where the teacher's desk and the teacher's chair was. Again, they did have books, but paper was still kind of expensive, so paper lessons were reserved for only the major assignments, if you will. Most of the time they used erasable slates and slate pencils. The older children at least would do some writing. When they did use paper, they would use ink. So at least some of the desks did have ink wells for the India ink.